I think ambition is overrated. And this is coming from someone who was a very, very ambitious person all of my life. I don't know what it is, but once I hit 30, I realized I've been sold a lie. To be specific, when you look up what ambition is defined as on Google, it says a strong desire to do or to achieve something, typically requiring determination and hard work. I'm not necessarily saying ambition is bad, but why are we taught that it's good to be ambitious? It's actually more accurate to say we're taught that it's bad to not be ambitious. You're taught that you're lazy or something if you don't have dreams or goals to achieve. So early in life, I think fear is a huge motivator for a lot of people. I think a lot of people are fearful that they'll be labeled as a good-for-nothing, lazy person who has no hopes and dreams and isn't going to go anywhere with their life. And that's why they're kind of forced to chase after whatever is closest and convenient at the time. Then when you're good and scared, society pulls the envy card. Everyone tells you you're supposed to be jealous of people who have more than you, who are richer than you and more successful than you. And you should aim to be like them because being rich and successful equals happiness and fulfillment. I've been fortunate enough to know a lot of these so-called rich, successful people in my life, and they're full of a bunch of shit. And most of them are anything but happy and fulfilled. It's all a front that they keep up. These people actually tend to be some of the most miserable people I've ever met in my life. For example, I don't know if you recently watched some of these podcasts where all these rich, successful CEO type people appear and they give advice and basically talk about how great they are. They're usually promoting some book or some product. They're obviously not doing it out of the goodness of their heart. And they usually talk about how much they had to sacrifice in order to become as rich and successful as they are. They usually talk about not spending time with their families just so they can make their big dream successful business, which, if you think about it, is kind of really messed up. Because imagine being their spouse or their kid, watching that interview when they're older and realizing their dad loves their business more than they love them. That's why they didn't go to your soccer game. Yeah. And what gets me about it isn't that they sacrificed willingly, it's that they're proud of it. There's no semblance of regret in their voices. So when in the same breath they say, I'm so happy, they're lying to you. Their personal lives are a mess and they hate themselves. I know this because I was the exact same way. I was willing to sacrifice my friends, my family, my personal life just to obtain success. And during that time of my life, I was the most miserable I've ever been. And the crazy part is when you feel like that, you want to make other people feel that way because it kind of justifies your own life. These people start trying to convince other people, look how great my life is, you should be like me. To the point where a lot of these people will look down on people who don't idolize their lifestyle. People who live a simpler, more mundane life, for example. There are a lot of people in Hollywood that I've worked with who hate the normal average person. They think they're better than them. They want nothing to do with them. They would turn their nose up at you just for breathing their air. It's pretty disgusting. But then they go on social media and then they pretend to be your ally. I fell into the trap of wanting all these things when I was younger. I think mostly because I wanted to be special. I think a lot of young people do. You have this desire to be the main character of your life, to live an extraordinary life and do extraordinary things one day. And then for me, eventually, I got really starstruck about the idea that I could be able to afford to buy really nice things and attend these really exclusive Hollywood parties. But the thing is, it didn't really work because money doesn't buy happiness. As much as people want to believe it, and as much as people say the only reason why you can say that is because you have money, it's not true. Money can make your life a whole lot easier, but it brings a whole lot of unhappiness with it. So when that didn't work, when I got all those things and I wasn't happy, I knew that maybe this whole ambitious lifestyle wasn't working and isn't going to work. Some people double down. Some people go, I want more and more. Maybe more money, more ambition, more promotions, more career success will bring me the happiness that everyone told me I would have. But I, for one, think that's pretty foolish. And the definition of insanity. You start wondering if you ever really wanted these types of things. Did I really want to drive a nice fancy car or wear a sparkly dress? Not really. I actually enjoy pigging out in my pajamas at home, playing video games and eating chips. I like taking care of my plants and working on my house. What am I supposed to do with all this money and success and the responsibility of maintaining this money and success? Is that so wrong to like just living a mundane, normal, boring life? I don't even necessarily like traveling all that much these days because I have to interact with people and it's uncomfortable. And when you come back from a vacation, you need a vacation from your vacation. I just end up being tired and lacking sleep for the next week or so. There's so much damn pressure to be extraordinary. Can I just exist? Is that so much to ask? It's hard enough to just exist. Now that I'm older, I have absolutely no problems with being normal or average and not in the slightest bit extraordinary. Sometimes I do worry there's something wrong with thinking this way. I trick myself into worrying about when I'm old and dying, I might worry I didn't do enough with my life. But then I realized that I never really look back at my life and wish I worked more. Wish I had more money necessarily. I wish I could have done more of the things I like to do. I wish I would have spent more time with the people I like to spend time with before they upped and got too old and moved away. I actually regret working too much and not spending enough time with the people that I love. Kind of like how when I look back at my childhood, it's not like I look back on it and go, I wish I studied more. I look back at it and go, I wish I drew more. I wish I spent more time with my friends. But it's not like I think my opinion is all that revolutionary. I'm not the first person to have come up with this idea or this thought. So why is it that children and we as a society are not really taught this other side of ambition, the more scarier side, the side that no one really wants to talk about? Why does it feel like there are forces beyond my control that want me to not be grateful for having what I have, to just being okay with whatever it is that I do have? Why does it feel like people want me to be jealous and envious of other people? I think the people who tell me that I should be ambitious don't give a damn about my well-being. I think they just want to take advantage of me, and I think they want to sell me something. Because what if I told them that what makes me fulfilled is working towards building meaningful relationships with the people around me? What if what makes me fulfilled is to live like Hemingway in the middle of nowhere? What if it's just to help others figure out how to find the same kind of peace that I have every single day, and to be able to achieve it has absolutely nothing to do with money? They would say, no, you can't do that. That's just a fantasy. You can't possibly do that without a lot of money. Or it's just simply not good enough. And my response to that is it's not good enough for you. It's a fantasy for you. The same way most people are willing to sacrifice their well-being and their loved ones' well-being just so they can obtain success and money, I'm willing to sacrifice appeasing you and societal norms just so I can work on my well-being. I hate it when people say you can't, because speak for yourself. You can't. I can. If you like money and money truly does make you happy, then chase after it. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Part of me just doesn't believe you. But who am I to tell you that's not a good thing to do? Society was made for people like you after all. I think you're gonna have an easier time than the rest of us figuring things out. But just because that's the way you want to live doesn't mean it's the way everyone else wants to live. Maybe the life of renovating my house and painting the walls for a few hours is exactly the kind of life that I want, that fulfills me. I want to redefine what it means to be fulfilled and to have purpose. Right now, it means money and success to most people. What if it became something else? Literally anything else. I bet we all, as a society, would become a lot happier. But of course, I don't think it's gonna happen. Because there's no money in it. It's not as sexy as saying, don't you want to be rich? So that's why I choose to live a boring life. What do you think? Do you ever feel judged for wanting to live differently than everybody else? As for me, I don't care what anybody wants to say about my life. I'm going to continue to enjoy living boringly.